There's a lot to choose from.
She might be though.
Tifa?
Though. I really like Tifa. But I don't know if she's my
She's a good
favorite.
character. I don't know if she should be my favorite.
That's a hard question.
I have to think of all the characters. I'm just going through like because I love Squall, but God, that game is not good for him. Squall is just good in Kingdom Hearts, and that's it.
I agree.
Cloud is cool. I like Cloud. I like Zack.
Yeah, I might.
Oh, we're back in.
Yeah, we're back in.
All right, we're back.
Are we back in?
Yeah,
Yeah,
we're just
back
gonna
in.
go right
Oh,
back
okay.
in.
I think I might like Zack more than Cloud. Like Cloud's a good character. He's like the OG broody anime boy, you know. But
Yeah,
like he is
late
still
game
just
Cloud
a
is
broody
really
anime
cool.
boy. That's true.
I really like late game Cloud.
Yeah, it takes a while for him to get there though.
The best favorite Final Fantasy character.
Oh, there's a boss fight here I forgot about.
It's Saz.
I like Saz as a character.
Saz is a
Saz
good
is great.
character.
I really do.
Top tier.
He's probably my favorite in 13.
I like that whole cast except for Snow.
I know, yeah.
I'm sorry.
Am I
I'm
playing
sorry. I'm
Dracula?
sorry.
What is this?
Yeah, it's Dracula.
I'm sorry, but that's really
Shit.
funny.
All right, what is this? What?
It's
Shamasei?
Shimhazai. It's a summon.
That's what I thought.
Yeah.
I should have casted all this
Oh,
beforehand.
well. Wait until you get Hasteca, then you don't have to cast haste on every single person.
Oh, that's
Oh,
the
shit, that's a
best.
thing in this game?
It is.
Fuck.
I will look up where to get it.
Oh, 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 oh.
Beep, boop, bop, beep, gonna smell your
You are gonna die.
Silence guy. Oh, shit.
Oh, well,
No!
Oh, yeah, it's easy to get. We just have to wait for certain story events to happen.
cool.
Roger Debris presents history. They're losing the war.
Excuse me,
me?
that's 2 down beat. God, I love that movie.
That's such a good. You gotta watch that. You like musicals, David. You gotta
do.
watch that movie.
Oh,
No.
it's so good. You've never seen The Producers?
No.
Oh
it's
my
so
god.
I know, Colby keeps talking about it.
Oh my
It's
god.
good,
Can
yeah.
we have a watch party?
good. Yeah, I think that's a good idea. I think we should do that.
That'd be
like-
fun.
It's on Netflix.
As long as you guys are okay with me singing all the songs, because that's what I'll do.
That's what I'll do. Hell yeah. Oh, he silenced again?
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
just Vaughn, though. He doesn't use magic.
It's me. It's her too.
Oh.
The healer.
He's shocking you.
Shemazai casts Shocker.
All right.
What is this model? Like, what am I looking at? It's like a horse? Front hat? There's hooves? Oh, that's not a bob. That's not a butt. That's just like a weird.
That's not a bob. That's a cut. A bob cut.
I do like the designs of the summons in this game,
Yeah.
but they're also very forgettable.
I think it's because there's no context for how they look.
Yeah, I agree.
So they're just these weird, like they could be in any game.
Yeah,
You
there's
know?
things.
I don't understand why they look the way they do.
So they're actually the if you remember in Tactics, you remember how some people they got the stones that transform them into demons. Well, that's what they were transforming into.
Ah,
Is these,
that's cool. I like that.
which is a nice little tie-in. But you're right. They're without that connection, it's very difficult to contextualize any of this.
Just like this, like playing this as a standalone game, there's not like enough context for them.
Yeah.
Like they never show them in cutscenes beforehand doing cool things. Like you never know, like know what they are.
Believe.
This is like I think my second favorite one.
It's a cool one.
Yeah, I think Bosch's third is probably my favorite because it's Gilgamesh. So you know, I like that.
You just like swords.
I do like swords, but I really like spears too. I like polearm weapons a lot too.
If you were a Final Fantasy character, what would your weapon be? That's a good question.
I want Gunblade. That's it.
Gunblade?
Oh yeah, that's an
Gunblade?
easy one actually.
All right,
That's
all
an
right.
easy one. I want like
Gunblade
straight
over
up-
like a dragoon spear.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because like the weapon isn't what makes dragoons cool to me. It's their armor actually,
Oh,
and
okay.
the fact that they like jump and shit. That's what's cool to me about a dragoon. But you can do that with a sword, and it's a gun. Well, you guys.
You're right. I mean, you know my favorite
Yeah.
weapon,
Oh,
quote
it's-
unquote, but it's not really a Final Fantasy weapon.
That's fair.
Some of this.
I mean, probably just sword and shield at that point, though.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah.
You know, go full Cecil.
Yeah.
Paladin
yeah,
Cecil.
yeah.
Lucas.
Honestly, as much as I love spears and I love them in fantasy settings, I think I'd have to give it to the twin daggers, like Zidane.
Yeah. They make it look really. You have to have the backwards like grip.
Yeah.
Like,
Yes.
You know.
Yeah. It's
Also-
one of the things that I hated about 14 is that ninjas are so stupid to play, because I want to be able to use the twin blades,
know.
but
Yeah.
I can't. I hate that
There's
class.
so much to ninjas.
It's
too
it's
much.
awful.
Yeah, but they also make gun blades for a freaking tank.
Yeah, they
It's
did.
true. It's
They
a cool
did.
class though. I'm leveling it. I have
Yeah.
like 76. It's
It's,
cool.
it's got a lot of leveling as a healer is awful when you've got one of those in your party for like
yeah.
So they have an ability that whose name I forget right now, but what it does is it makes them immune to all attacks for like 10 seconds or something,
Okay.
or like 5 seconds, but it reduces their hit points to 1.
Yep.
So all of a sudden you'll be healing and something big will happen and then your tank will be down at 1 hit point. You're like, I don't know what's going on.
Got like 5 seconds to heal them or else they're dead.
Yeah.
They are. I think they're the least defensive tank though, right? Their DPS is just high. Is that-
They have high DPS and they have a lot of like regen effects that they can apply
Yeah.
to themselves and shields. So yeah, I think their straight up like mitigation isn't that great, but they have a lot of extra tools for dealing with it.
Yeah. Gunblades are cool. I like whenever there's a Final Fantasy character with a very unique weapon, like how Waka just throws a ball. Like things like that.
Or Lulu has the
the dolls?
the voodoo sort of doll thing.
Yeah. Things like that are cool.
I also liked staffs, like the summoner staff, but I like the idea of like a monk being able to just like,
that'd be cool.
he's a spellcaster, and then you just like,
Yeah.
oh no, my god.
Yeah. Yeah. That's one of the things, the monk class in a lot of Final Fantasies are all barehanded.
Yeah.
And I wish that they would like this game does
Yeah.
with the poles.
Yeah.
Yeah, doing a staff. It's like the monk thing, you know.
Where-
Oddly enough, in Tactics, the poles were not for monks. They were for what class was that? Oracle, or
Oh,
I forget what it was called. It was like a debuff magic class.
interesting.
Yeah.
Reverse moat.
we're gonna start a new D&D campaign soon, and I'm playing a
Hasted him.
Warforged monk that just uses strength to punch things really hard, and I'm
Yep.
very excited.
I still don't know what I'm gonna play for that.
Yeah.
I've been like tossing around ideas in my head, but it's so because I'm still such in a Mutants and Masterminds
Yeah.
headspace that all those classes feel so underwhelming.
They're very
All
limiting.
of them are. Yeah.
Yeah, so I have to like.
This is like
really
the
go
most
through it.
exciting thing I could think of, like to play a Warforged monk, even though
Yeah.
it's not exciting. Like it's the most unique thing I could think of.
I've sort of been gravitating away from D&D, which is whatever.
Yeah.
But my friends want to do a one-shot the day after Christmas, so I was like, sure, I'll
Yeah,
I'll
nice.
join in, whatever. And have you read the Artificer class in Tasha's?
It's crazy.
Because it's everything that I
Yeah.
need out of a
It's-
class.
Yeah.
And I'm like,
really good.
shit, they're pulling me back in and I hate it.
I kind of want to play that, but I know because Nicole's not like she's not a very experienced DM.
Yeah.
I don't really think she'll put a lot of magical items in the campaign, like look them up and like go into
That's
like
true.
all the research into that. So I feel like I'm gonna be wasting a lot of the potential.
If you tell her that you're playing an artificer,
She
though,
might, yeah.
She might.
Well, that's the nice thing about Artificers is they make their own.
Right.
Like a lot of their abilities are just, I make a sword and it's
Right.
+2.
Well, okay, hold on. This is
This is kind of important.
okay. Summons Squall. It's lightning.
Where is everyone?
Oh, is this the introspective moment? Like you must
Princess of Dalmasca.
searching yourself.
Not quite.
We, O Curia, have chosen you.
Curia. These are the aliens from Indiana Jones 4.
Yes. It's terrifying.
Yeah, this is kind of scary. It's Prometheus shit right here. It's like a Febreze commercial.
Ashalia Benarg and Dalmasca, we see your heart desires power, and power most holy shall we grant. Seek you the sun-crest, slumbering star. In tower on distant shore, it dreams. The mother of all Nephesite, the source of its unending power.
Could you just like send me a Google Maps
The
link?
Diamond King,
To where
his
it
fellow
is?
shards, coarse trinkets cut from Suncrest's light.
Such power exists?
In times that are long passed away, we thought to save this Evilise, and chose Wraithwall, the Dynast King. He took the sword and cut the crest, 3 shards he took from its gilt grasp, and so became the Dynast King. His words and deeds run through your veins.
He took the 3 pieces of the Triforce.
Yeah.
That's why I was given it. The Sword of Kings.
The treaty held with kings of old is but a memory, cold and still. With you, we now shall treat anew, to cut a run for history's flow. Now take this sword.
Yep, that's what I
My God, this game was definitely Ash is the main character.
Yes.
But Vaughn never existed.
Cut deep the crest and seize your
And they're giving her all the anime swords.
A new sword for Penelo.
power. Destroy Vanar.
Vana.
But Vanar's an Ecurian. A being like you.
Vanar is a heretic.
Oh my God. No, he stole $5 from me. Shut up.
The Nephesite is ours to give to chosen bearer, or to none. The heretic trespassed, and set the rose of knowledge in man's hand. With imitations they profane. It is anathema to us. We give you now the stone and task.
I don't want to help these guys.
Administer
I don't like that one.
judgment. Destroy them.
He looks comfy.
Looks too comfy.
Judgment.
I'm always very impressed by the writers of this section. The Ocuria all speak in, if I'm allowed to be a poetry nerd for a bit here,
Banned.
they speak in a meter called iambic tetrameter,
Okay.
which is 4 sets of iams, which is an unstressed syllable followed by a stressed syllable. But Vana speaks in iambic pentameter, which is sort of like that.
Right, that's the Shakespearean.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, which is, this, it's like, oh, he does this thing that we don't like. Also, he speaks weird.
So like the heretic one
Yeah.
speaks. Oh,
He
that's
speaks differently,
interesting.
yeah.
That's cool. I like that. It's a nice little detail.
It's very impressive.
So that Evilise
I'm sure they had a lot of play with these because there's no mouth movements to have to match.
Right.
Right.
we are history's stewards.
Anyway, poetry nerd
Set
off.
the course.
I wonder how
and
that
keep it true.
translated well in
The chosen is our
Japanese.
hand.
Yeah, I'm not
in
sure.
the original, like, was that a localization choice, or did
yeah.
they must have spoken some strange, maybe, like formatting in Japanese? I don't know.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I'm not familiar with the Japanese version enough to.
I don't remember meeting Venat.
Yeah,
Fulfill your
We haven't yet. That's okay. Like, I don't
we
know
have.
that.
Well, we haven't spoken to him, but we've seen him. He was the
The thing with Sid, or
Yeah.
okay. Oh,
Yeah.
the Unguardian.
Yeah.
Attain to
That's what I
your
thought.
birthright.
Also, I would never ever follow like the word of somebody who calls anyone else a heretic. Like, that's not a good person. That's not a faction I want to be a part of.
Even if they offer you a really cool sword.
Okay,
Well,
you're right.
a cool sword with the ability to gain more power.
Yeah. I would absolutely take it.
Yeah, you're right.
What's with these Acuria? What gives them the right to tell you what to do?
Will you take revenge, as they ask?
Hey
We did
guys,
not see them, but we heard the Ocuria speak.
I just had a real weird
They may be
experience.
gods, but
You
they are
did
the
not
arbiters of our destiny.
like grill me.
Your Highness, I'm against this. The Empire must pay, but destruction?
Does anyone know what happened to Dr. Sid? Wasn't he saying he'd be here?
He should have arrived by now.
And I should have realized by now. He's not coming. He laid out the bait, and we bit. Remember what he said? He wanted Ash to get the stone. He wanted that all along. That's why he flaunted his Nethicite and reeled us in with his stories about Vegan, all to bring Ash to the Ocuria.
But wait, if we got a hold of the Nethicite, wouldn't that be bad for the Empire?
Maybe he wants to see what happens when foes with Nethicite collide. That'd be just like Dr. Sid.
I will search out the Sun Crest.
The what?
Okay, bye.
Yeah.
History is fought
Later.
by our hands. That's his favorite line. He'd never stand by and watch the
She's
Ocuria
really
stone
strong for
shape
holding a
things.
sword just like nonchalantly like that.
So,
That thing's huge.
he was
she's
talking to
jacked.
Vanar all along. He wasn't mad at all then, was he?
I mean,
Maybe a little angry.
yeah. The Treaty Blade.
That's a lame name.
Restore Dalmasca's sovereignty and make our amends with Lady Ash. It's the only way to avert war.
It's a war of necessity. Your Lady Ash herself is bent on it. She desires it above all else. She will not rest until her revenge is full wrought.
I fear you misread her intent. She would sooner shun war than embrace it.
You are young, Larsa.
And you presume beyond your ken.
Then let us look closer. Judge Gabranth.
Oh, don't bring me into this, man.
I would have you seek after the Lady Ash and judge whether she makes overtures of peace or war. Yours shall be the eyes of the Empire.
And should I espy war, I am to put her to the sword. Is that your wish, Excellency?
It will not come to that, I am sure. I have faith in her, faith in you both. On you, Gabranth, shall I wager all our fortunes.
No pressure.
As you will.
This kid would be terrible in Vegas.
Number 23 red, all in.
That so sweet a child could be your brother is hard to believe.
Larsa is as he should
What a
be.
backhanded compliment.
Yeah, seriously.
What's that, Venna? Taken the bait already, have they? Splendid.
Vane's like,
The Ocuria have given the princess her treaty blade.
gonna leave now.
The gods have chosen their
I like his
scribe
bat wing
to write
shoulder.
history as
Yeah, I
they
do too.
deem fit.
It's how he flies around.
Yes, and she with fresh
It's like only like an
nephesite
inch
to
off
aid
the
her.
ground.
Bah! To hell with the Ocuria and their stones. What good? A power that cannot be harnessed. Baubles best suited for study, no more.
We conquered 2 kingdoms that you might study these baubles.
Oh, I am grateful for the sacrifice. Without it, manufactured nephesite would have eluded us. An unrivaled weapon, I warrant you. Tell me, Venna, have I not been an apt pupil?
You sucked, man.
Oh, Vane's like, oh my, it's real! It's real!
Guide your able hand. Through power of man, the stones did you perfect. Yes. So much accomplished in 6 fleeting years. Man's fervor o'er all obstacles prevailing.
Our lives are much too short. You undying might waste long centuries away, but we, I fear, cannot.
Just so. Had we more time, we might have availed ourselves of more prudent measures.
Your greatest work still lies before you. Not lightly will the Ocuria allow you to wrest the reins of history from their grasp, back into the hands of man.
Indeed. What claim does Garen have on history's reins? Seated on throne immortal, rent from time. For your ascendant's vein I offer prayer. May you attain all that which is your due.
Attain it I shall. For too long have my deeds gone unrewarded.
They're very calm for talking to a god.
Yeah.
Or an immortal being, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, it seems like Vane's seen some
shore
shit.
dreams the sun Christ. Do these words mean aught to you?
I don't like that word.
What,
Chris.
Christ? Sun Christ sounds like a soda.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
This reminds me of like cyst.
Delicious orange Suncrest.
Yeah.
Dead, thank you.
I'd drink it.
Refreshing. Invigorating.
Can't trust your own kind. Who can you trust?
Sweet orange
You're an
flavor.
expert on pirating now, are you?
Citrus Suncrest. So I'm still a little stuck up on it.
You gotta backtrack all the way.
Oh,
Backtrack,
man.
backtrack.
I don't have like an escape rope or
Nope.
anything.
You have 4 times speed. Hey, if it's made for anything, it's made for backtracking.
When can I get hasted up?
So after the next dungeon, There's a merchant somewhere in the Esther Sand that you can buy it from.
Okay, so not for a little while.
Yeah.
Is there a Regenaga?
No.
Regenaga? I wish I could have left like breadcrumbs. God, all the way back? Who thought of this?
Square. Like I said, the dungeons aren't particularly difficult at this stage of the game. They're just annoying.
Yeah, really. Honestly, I hate to say it, but I don't think I've come across a dungeon that I really liked yet.
Yeah.
Not that I hated any of them, but like...
A lot of them are very samey.
Yeah, it's kind of forgettable.
This is the most, like... This and the one before were very, like, visually appealing, but the design's just not good, in my opinion.
Which was the one before it? Oh, you mean the Gear of Vegan itself, not the Grand Crystal?
Yeah, yeah. Number 18. Burger King foot legs. Sorry.
Hiya!
At least the dogs aren't here.
Oh, that's true. I'm surprised they didn't. Well, they didn't spawn here anyway. Going up. At 4 times speed. Ah!
The dogs!
Spoken to
the cats.
Bitch. Yeah, I guess they're cats, right?
They're displacer beasts.
What are they called? They Ose. They on Twitch, the cast of Avatar: Last Airbender were doing a watch party. I guess they've been doing it for a little while, watching the whole series.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, and they were at the finale. It was cool. It was like Sakura, Zuko, Toph. I think Katara was there. The guy who plays Iroh, thank you. He was there too.
Nice.
And some scattered other people. It was pretty cool.
Yeah, that's awesome.
I love it when actors are just as into the fandom as like fans are.
Yeah, same. Yeah. It really gives it like an extra layer, you know. On the flip side, I hate seeing like really cringy like they're at a convention and people ask them like really just weird questions.
Yeah,
you know, like about their character or something.
That happens a lot.
Yeah,
I know what you mean.
But it's worth it seeing, you know, like Dante Bosco loves Zuko. It's one of his favorite roles, and he always, like, whenever anybody has a chance to like talk about Zuko in a video or like wants him as a guest, he's like, yeah, man.
Yeah.
I follow Great Alile on Twitter.
Who's that?
She did the voice of Azula.
Yes. Oh yeah. Yes.
And she, at the beginning of this whole like pandemic thing, she was like recording like voicemail messages for people in Azula's voice,
nice.
which I think is the coolest shit.
That's so sick.
That's one of the things that made me get into Overwatch a lot when it first came out.
Yes.
Is the voice actors were very much into their characters, doing a bunch of things like outside the game.
They really like whatever marketing team you know was in charge of that. They really banked on that. You know, like Matthew Mercer with McCree and stuff like that.
Yeah.
I think that helped a lot of people get into it.
Yeah,
never opened the Scorpio gate, huh?
Nope. That's the way up.
Yeah.
That's the way to the optional content.
Optional baddies.
Yeah.
We don't want it. We're not gonna take it.
You know who's actually also really into their character from the Last Airbender franchise is I forget her name, but the woman who played Korra.
Really?
Yeah, like apparently she loves the character. She does like cosplays and
I love Korra as a character. I think she's really cool.
Yeah, I do too.
You know, I know the show has some mistakes, but like Korra herself, like I think she one of the best designed characters.
Oh, absolutely.
I think a lot of the mistakes can be chalked up to Nickelodeon messing with the production schedule.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, I agree wholeheartely. Because you know, so many talented people worked on it.
Yeah,
it'd be hard to believe that they just fucked up. I guess it's possible, but
and it was good for the most part.
I liked it,
in my opinion. Like the majority of it was good.
I think the only like weakness that I ever, well, other than the abrupt ending of season 1, which makes sense in context.
Yeah, sure.
I think like the first half of season 2 was
awful,
not that good.
Yeah.
But
well, the first episode was, I think the first and second were amazing because they had the different animation studio. And if
season 2?
Season 2, yeah. If you've like looked at the fight where she fights the spirit for the first time outside of the festival before it goes on, it's one of the best like pieces of animation I've ever seen. It's gorgeous, but I'm sorry I interrupted.
No, that's fine. As soon as it gets to the spoilers for anybody who hasn't watched Korra, the section where she goes into the first Avatar's memories, like that point on gets really good.
Yes.
And then from there it just gets better and better.
Yes. Yeah, and I think it's because they do a lot of really good character building. You know, I say that, but I think Bolin gets a little annoying later on in season 4. I think just being the funny guy. He gives me the same. I get that same reaction of when I'm in a very serious D&D campaign or like a story moment, and then somebody acts goofy, or rather, I'm sorry, somebody acts really goofy all the time in a D&D campaign and gets away with it. I just steal from the guard. And it's just like all the time, and like everyone's like.
Do you think they tried to make him a Sokka?
Yeah, 1,000%.
And it just didn't work out.
I just think he never had that. Bolin never had that moment that Sokka did, where he like came into his own as a character. He didn't
started
really,
strong.
He started very strong, yes. But he never really had that moment where like Sokka realizes he's like the idea guy and he's the leader, and he's also a capable combatant. And you know, he never had those moments. He just was the funny guy.
Yeah, I just think the maturity level didn't. It was too little, too late of him getting more mature. Whereas Sokka, you know, he had those conversations where he'd sit down and be like, hey, listen, this is like the deal, like our mom or whatever. But with Bolin, it was always a joke. It was just another joke around there, like joke, and what am I doing? It just took you out of it. At least it took me out of it.
I think I agree.
What about? God, what the hell's his name? Cool Guy McGee. What's the other guy?
Mako?
Mako was like my favorite in season 1, and then just nothing for the rest.
I think he gets shafted being shoved into the love triangle situation.
Yes.
It sort of, I think it definitely harmed his character that he had to deal with that.
Yeah, and you know, he had nothing to do in seasons 3 and 4. There was... They gave him the detective route, which was really cool. I liked how he was like, you know, basically he's a street urchin, and then he turns into a detective for the police department. But his character was so attached to Korra at that point that when she started doing her own thing and it got out of the way, it's like the whole Goku thing where like your friends are Goku, but then Goku starts fighting gods, and now the support cast has nothing else to do.
Well, I was gonna say one of the compelling things about the original Last Airbender was that Aang wasn't the best bender of each element in his group.
Yes.
Like he was constantly outdone by both Katara and Toph.
Yes. That's a good point.
Whereas Korra was the best bender of each element for her group.
Yeah.
So
there was no strong support.
Yeah.
They
So
didn't have to be.
Yeah. So you know, at those times when they were like, oh, we need somebody to do this crazy waterbending thing, she's like, well, I can do that.
Yeah.
You know, or you know, she was a better firebender than Mako. She was a better earthbender than Bolin, and she could metal bend, which Bolin couldn't do. Which was like, I think the Goku analogy here is very apt.
I also I 100% agree with you. It seemed the series was concerned with a lot of different aspects, which worked in some ways and didn't. I think they forgot about some things that made the original series so interesting was going into the spirituality of every bending style and how they function with one another. When Bolin learns lava bending, or even when they discover lava bending, it's never talked about. They don't say anything about it. They don't talk about how it works. It's just one dude can do it. Bolin sees it and he's like, "Oh, that's so cool," and then does it.
Do you think that they didn't? They thought they didn't need to because they already explored that in the original Avatar?
They didn't. There was no lava bending in Avatar.
Well, I mean, like the spirituality of it, like the different fighting styles and the chi and like everything.
Well, but like season 2 is called like Spirit Book, you know?
Yeah.
Like,
I know, yeah.
Like,
I wish they had. I was trying to understand.
And Korra is the perfect character to do that too. She wasn't raised by monks. Her knowledge of the spiritual is very limited. Her first mentor was an airbender.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
And they just sort of decided that it wasn't important to them. I also didn't really care for the fact that all the bending just sort of looked the same.
Yeah, I kind of like that.
Do you?
What do you?
I enjoyed it because it made watching somebody like Zuko and Tenzin. I think it really deepened the world, like the value of that world building, to see these very traditional martial artists start fighting, and you're like, oh, yeah, they come from an entirely different time.
That's true, I guess.
So I think that was pretty interesting. Maybe if we saw more of that, I think maybe that would have helped you to enjoy it.
Yeah, because the only times we see it are Tenzin. And his fight with Zahir is like one of my favorites in the whole show.
So good. Watching Zahir fight is really great too.
Yeah.
And when he fights their daughter, Katara and
Kaya.
Daughter, Kaya, thank you.
Yeah.
That's a really good fight.
Yep. Well, that's the other person I was going to point to was Kaya, because she learned from Katara.
Yep.
And Katara is very traditional in her like mastery of waterbending.
It's such a cool world, man. I wish they would do more with it.
Well, there's the comics.
I always thought, I was thinking, like, I remember I was driving home and I'm like, what would be a really cool, like, the next Avatar show kind of thing? And I thought it would be really cool if it was like a cyberpunk-esque world, and you follow an earthbender avatar in this in this digital age. I think that would be like pretty, and like there's like nobody cares about the avatar, like they're not like they're not idolized or anything, because the spirit world and everything is already merged, and there's sort of like no need for an avatar, because like hundreds of years have passed, and they kind of made their own system for making things work. It was a problem that Korra had in the show, where she's like, I don't think anybody needs me anymore. And it's like, yeah, it's true, you don't need an avatar anymore.
Can I just point out that you're describing Shadowrun?
Yes. Yeah.
But in the Avatar universe.
Yeah, 100%. Cool. 100%. The CEO dragons and everything.
Yeah. I mean, I don't disagree. I think it'd be really freaking awesome. But
it'd be cool to see them tackle that, and then like, I think you can make a lot of
you still want to go up?
Yeah.
It's another hidden path point. Yeah.
You can make a lot of observations about like modern day society and how technology brings us further away from our spiritual sides or whatever, like self-discovery and stuff. And I think you did, if they made it like way more adult too, like they're not tied to Nickelodeon, they're just like, we can write whatever we want, like that would be sick.
I agree.
I think the only problem you'd have in that kind of a universe is that lightning benders would have an inherent advantage.
Well, they do in Korra, kind. There's like way more of them, kind of thing.
Yeah.
Right, but imagine somebody with like implants, and they get hit with lightning bending, and it just fries them all.
That would be cool though. It's like to see how they get around that, right? Like how they end up developing. I feel like that would be something like they would have to like think of from the very beginning. Like whoever manufactured that would be like, yeah, well, we used plastic bending,
which is just an outcropping of earth bending.
Yeah,
it's just oil.
Wouldn't that be cool?
That would be interesting,
huh?
Man, I'm glad Cyberpunk came out, because I want more Shadowrun-esque media.
Yeah.
That's a game I would love to play.
Yeah.
But
so interesting.
Stupid dice pools.
Stupid rules. I hate rules.
I know, yeah. They really need to revamp those.
They did.
They did enough.
No, but they made an attempt.
Yeah. Damn. 5e or whatever it is.
It is 5e, yeah. I gotta learn it. I have to learn it. I have to run it.
It's impossible. It's impossible.
No, I have to do it.
It's impossible.
I demand to be in that game.
Yeah, nobody else is gonna do it, so I have to.
Unless that's what we're gonna play after Mutants Madness. Then you have to learn it.
So what did you guys think of? Did you watch The Dragon Prince?
I did not.
I did.
Any thoughts?
How do I explain the Dragon?
The only thing I heard about it is that the FPS was weird, and
the first season very much is like that.
Kind of what made me not watch it. So I was like,
it was drying at first. It's definitely not a problem as it goes on.
Yeah, it improves in the second season as well.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
I know they're renewed for like 4 more seasons.
Are they really?
Yeah, I think that's like a mistake for any show.
Yeah.
Already like I'm already fatigued somehow, But really, God, it hasn't been a while since I watched it, but my thoughts on it are like, it was okay. I think if I were the proper demographic, like the age demographic for it, I would have ate that up. I would have loved that show. I think there were just a lot of little problems that really just hurt it for me. And I thought the ending of the last season, I thought it was the finale until they're like, there's 7 more seasons coming out. I thought it was kind of like rushed and kind of lame.
I would have said one more season.
I agree. One more would have been fine.
I don't know. Unless they do this thing where they change tacks and do like a time skip or like change the group dynamic or whatever. But
the characters are great. I love all the characters. I love the leads. I think they're all very fun. The villain was the best part of that show, bar none.
Which one?
The main one, Shibuya.
The wizard, the evil wizard guy.
Yeah, he was awesome. I know there's they set up a twist in episode 1, but they never fulfilled it.
Which one?
So the very first...
I know, that makes it sound like there's 15.
Unfulfilled twist?
So, the very first episode, they're like, all right, it's all about these elves that are going to kill the king. And they're just like, okay, how do we stop this? And he's like, you can't. When it's a full moon, they're unstoppable. And he's like, oh, what have you been up to, wizard guy? He's like, oh, I just been working on how to transfer consciousness and stuff. Hey, I like your favorite pet bird.
Oh, that, yes.
And I'm like, are you kidding me?
Yeah.
And they never,
yeah.
But the king dies.
Yep.
And he's still dead.
I fully I'm with you on that. I fully expected there to be some sort of switcheroo.
There is going to be. There has to be. It's going to be season 6 to be like, what if I told you your father's alive?
Yeah.
You know, and it's going to happen.
Yeah.
And I feel like I don't know if they know that we know.
Yeah, it was just one of those things that yes. Yeah. We just wrote this in. We didn't have any plans for this
Did
whatsoever.
they just forget about it?
It's like me writing a D&D campaign.
Real talk.
Yeah.
They're reading forums oh man, they're setting that up. I'm like, oh shit, we set that up.
We did, didn't we?
Set that up.
Yeah,
we have to do that.
Yeah, I had forgotten about that actually. I completely forgot about that.
I remembered it every episode because I'm just waiting for them to be like, okay, all right, here it is. The bird, his favorite bird. But
I'm such a sucker for traditional fantasy style stories that we don't get a lot of.
Yes.
The last big one that we had was Game of Thrones, and I just didn't really jive with it.
Yeah,
it's the same. I really
more about politics. Than whatever.
I need
What's
magic.
the time? Oh, bye.